In medicine, CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, is something that is done on a heart that is essentially dead, that is stopped. It's a last-ditch measure. When my friend and colleague Bob Dent and I wrote a book called The Heart of a Nurse Leader, which by the way applies to any leader, it never occurred to us that we might need to think about a sequel on CPR for the heart of a nurse leader. But now during the pandemic, we've seen so many people pushed to the edge of exhaustion. We've seen so many people frustrated and angry. We've seen so many people starting to drop out of their professions. That perhaps it's time for us to think about CPR for the heart of a leader in a new way. And by CPR, I mean courage, perseverance, resilience. Those are the three essential qualities you have to inspire in your culture and in your people to help them work their way through any crisis situation, like what many of us are going through today. Courage. Courage is the ability, the willingness to take a risk. Even if there's a chance of rejection, even if there's a chance of failure. By the way, let me say something about rejection and failure. Those are the things people are afraid of that we don't want to experience. But I'll tell you what, rejection is like the red badge of courage. Failure is like the Medal of Honor, because the only people who ever get rejected are the people who have the courage to ask. The only people who ever fail are the people who have the courage to try. You want to never be rejected? You want to never fail? Sit home on the couch and watch TV. Of course, then you fail at the most important test of all, which is the test of life. Amy Edmondson and others have talked about creating a psychologically safe environment. And that is step number one. If you want to have a culture where people have courage, you have to make it safe. You have to make it safe for people to express their opinions. You have to make it safe for people to stand up to a bully. You have to make it safe for people to raise their hand and say, time out, I think something's wrong here. P is perseverance. The ability to plow through whatever brick walls stand in the way. I'm really concerned reading about this so-called Great Resignation. So many people are leaving their professions. Now, some people are doing it because they can make more money or have a better job elsewhere, and more power to them. But so many people, especially in my field, which is healthcare, so many people are leaving because they're exhausted. And I want to pull them aside and remind them, why did you get into the healing professions in the first place? How can I help you have the perseverance to plow your way through this frustration? Because even though it's flickering right now, there is a light at the end of that tunnel. And that gets me to the R in CPR, which is resilience. And I don't just mean bouncing back. I mean bouncing back somehow stronger, wiser, with a better sense of character than when you fell down. In fact, I think resilience is probably the wrong word. The right word is not in the dictionary because I made it up. The right word to use here would be prosilience, prospective resilience, working on creating a culture where people expect they're going to fall down. We all do, it's inevitable. Knowing that when you do, you're going to have your team with you, they're going to help you get back up, and you're going to work your way through it. CPR is sort of it's remedial. It's helping you deal with the challenges. What inspires people to want to have the courage and to persevere and to bounce back with resilience? That's the V and the H. V is vision. Proverbs, the book of Proverbs says, without vision, people perish. Pretty strong language. One of my favorite Bible verses, Mark 9:23, all things are possible for one who believes. But you have to have a vision. You have to have something to believe in. And this is the leader's role, is to create that inspiring vision that pulls people forward. At Values Coach, we talk about creating memories of the future. And I actually have a formula. I call it the 10A formula because it's 10 steps. Each one begins with the letter A. And since we don't have time to go through the whole 10 steps here, that is also homework that you will get as our guidebook on the 10A formula. But without hope, even no matter how powerful the vision is, it will just become a hope, a wish, a dream, a goal. Hope is the catalyst for belief. I love the way the late Wayne Dyer put it. He said, you'll see it when you believe it. And, hope is the catalyst for belief. Hope is the most important job that a leader has in a time of crisis. Eric Hoffer, in his classic book, The True Believer, said, anyone who would change the world or a corner of the world must have the ability to spark and fan an extravagant hope. That was his word, extravagant hope. I'll give you my candidate for the dumbest thing that any CEO has said during the entire pandemic, and that's the CEO at Uber. He sent a message out to every employee saying, hope is not a strategy. Well, duh. Hope is not a strategy, but without hope, even the most brilliant strategy is doomed to failure. And in fact, I would say that in a time like this where there is so much disillusionment, so much anxiety, so much worry and concern, that maybe hope should be a strategy. Maybe that should be your most important strategy. How do we give people the hope that we can achieve our vision by having the courage and the perseverance and the resilience to move our way forward to it? And in the rest of this class, we're going to talk about some specific ways that you can do that.